Today we're going to talk about a really troubling report that's come out of Bangladesh. And honestly, it's a story that makes you stop and ask some very hard questions, about justice, about the safety of minorities, and really about what it means to be humane.
So, to start, we really have to get our heads around the shocking event that's at the heart of all this. This wasn't just some local incident. It's something that has sent massive shockwaves across the entire region.
Okay, let's just get right to it. The core of the report is it's horrifying. A Hindu man was burned alive, and the sheer brutality of this act has caused widespread alarm, raising some serious concerns that go way beyond the borders of Bangladesh.
Now, the details here are absolutely crucial to understanding the full picture. The victim, he wasn't some kind of fighter or political figure. He was just an ordinary civilian, not involved in any violence at all. And that's why sources are connecting this horrific act to a much larger and deeply disturbing trend of rising violence against religious minorities there.
You see, an act this terrible is never just an isolated event, is it? It forces a much bigger conversation. It really becomes a question for all of humanity, forcing a society to look in the mirror and face some pretty difficult truths.
And this quote from the source material, wow, it just captures that feeling perfectly. The sense is that this isn't just a crime against one person, but an attack on human dignity itself. It's the kind of thing that's seen as bringing shame on everyone.
So, of course, in the wake of something this awful, people are going to demand justice. So let's take a look at the calls for accountability that have come after this event.
And that response, it's really coming from two different directions. On one side, you've got human rights groups and activists who are demanding immediate, strict action against whoever did this. And then on the other side, you have the official response from the administration, which is a promise that they're going to investigate.
And that right there, that leads to the one crucial question that's just hanging in the air. Despite all the outcry and despite the official promises, will the victim's family actually get justice? This really points to that painful and unfortunately all too common gap between what's said and what people believe will actually get done.
That question of justice leads directly to the fear that's being felt by the whole minority community. An attack like this doesn't just impact one family. That fear spreads, and it can poison the atmosphere, creating this deep, deep sense of insecurity for so many people.
And here you can see that stark contrast between the promise and the reality. On the one hand, every citizen is supposed to have the right to be safe and secure. But for many in Bangladesh's Hindu community, the reality is a growing atmosphere of fear. The sources we've looked at say this community already felt vulnerable, and an act like this just makes that fear so much worse.
All right, so for our final section, let's zoom out a little bit, because an event like this doesn't just reflect on the people who did it. It raises questions about the identity of an entire society. I mean, what really defines a nation?
This quote really gets to the central argument from our source material. The idea is that the true measure of any country isn't its economy or its military power, but how it protects its most vulnerable people. The security of its minorities, that's the ultimate test.
And so if a society wants to pass that test, it has to be built on three foundational pillars: peace, justice, and humanity. And these aren't just, nice-sounding words. The source argues they are absolutely essential for any society that wants to move forward.
And this final quote, it really serves as a powerful warning for everyone. No society, anywhere, can build a good future on a foundation of violence, hatred, and bigotry. Those things only destroy, they don't build. At the end of the day, the only path forward has to be one that chooses humanity.